My 15-year-old just asked to wear diapers. What should I do? He isn't incontinent. He just asks to wear them. Okay, so I've been reading some of the answers and there is a lot of people who are saying that you should take him to a psychologist, or that it's a fetish. Also, I believe that what I'm going to talk about has already been addressed, but I'm going to say it anyway. First off, unless he is acting in a harmful way to himself or others, do not take him to a therapist without him agreeing with it. It's horrible being forced into that sort of environment, and he would more likely close up or even get worse if he didn't want to go. Besides, I don't believe that this is as big of a problem than a lot of people think. As already stated, this might be a sign of age regression. There is something called little space, and people, normal people, often use it as a coping mechanism for anxiety, past trauma, depression, and even just to escape adult pressures and responsibilities for a bit. I'm not an expert on it, but I'm a little too, so I'm just talking from my experience. I have anxiety, and it helps me when I am panicking or very stressed. Wearing diapers is quite normal in this situation. If he did regress, and he wouldn't be wearing it all the time, just only when he was a little and felt the need to wear one so that he could regress properly and have more fun in little space. Age regression is neither axial nor a fetish, and it shouldn't be treated as a bad thing, because it can greatly help people live a happier life. Personally, I don't wear diapers, but if it makes him feel better then let him. Now let's go into another situation. If he didn't age regress, then what would a diaper be for? Well, it's still no need for too much concern. If you are feeling worried about him, then definitely ask him about it, and why he wants to wear them. He's a 15-year-old, he's probably got his reasons, and if he doesn't then that's okay. Buy him the diapers, but talk to him about it too. He might be regressing, or it might be a fetish, or it might be something completely different, but just let him explore it. It doesn't harm anyone, and you won't even notice it. Just talk to him, and do what you both agree is best for him. I am so glad for your son that you are a decent enough parent that he can come to you with something of this nature, and rather than reject him or emotionally and psychologically abuse him, you ask for advice. If only my mother had been so decent. The first thing to do is ask him why he wants to wear diapers. As many here have said, there could be several reasons, and it could simultaneously be more than one reason. Be prepared for the possibility that when you talk to him, or at any time thereafter, he may tell you that it goes beyond diapers, and that he has desires to be an actual baby again. Remember that your son liking diapers, or any other baby products, or wanting to be baby-like again does not indicate that he is a pedophile. The next step is for the two of you, your partner, if you have one, and they are equally able to be supportive of your son, and your son is willing to let them in on the secret, and any other family members who also live in the house. Again, they would have to be supportive of him and he would have to be willing to tell them to make a plan for how your son will get his baby supplies, when, where, and how he will use them, and any other rules or stipulations the two of you, or group of you, decide upon. Please do not ever do what my mother did. That is that she sent me to a psychiatrist for infantilism conversion or ABDL conversion therapy. If you have ever heard of gay conversion therapy, it follows the same exact principles, except that, instead of trying to deliberately murder part of one's psyche to transfer them from being homosexual or bisexual into a heterosexual, they are instead trying to deliberately murder part of one's psyche to make them not want to be a little anymore. It has the exact same results. Result number 1. It will not and cannot work. This is something that has been cultivating in his mind since a young age, and even though he has just come out to you, and may not have known it himself until recently, it is still a strong part of his psyche, and trying to break it will lead to result number 2. Result number 2. He will have a poor self-image and poor self-esteem. If he hasn't ever had depression, this form of therapy will cause it, and that may lead to result number 3. Result number 3. If things devolve enough, your son might attempt, and might, heavens forbid, succeed at committing suicide. If you love your son, the clear path forward is to support him. You do not have to allow him to practice in your presence unless you and he decide it is okay, but at the very least provide him an avenue to practice in the privacy of his own bedroom without the fear of judgment or reprisal. You should let him wear them. It isn't hurting anyone, and if it makes him happy then that's great. I do think you should talk to him about it. Ask him why. There's quite a few reasons why he would want to wear them. Quite a few people have said this already, but it might be that he's a little. Age regression. Being a little is a coping mechanism and is not inherently sexual. Many people use it as a way to deal with unpleasant emotions or past trauma. Every little is different. Some might wear diapers while others might like stuffed animals and dinosaur nuggets. It could be a fetish, kink, but asking a parent for something like that is so ballsy I'd be surprised if it was that. Or maybe he just thinks they're comfortable. You won't know if you don't ask. There's also a lot of talk about making him see a therapist. Personally, I think if you can pay for a therapist you should get one. Even if you don't have a mental illness, it's nice to have a non-biased person to talk about your issues with, but don't force him to go to one. If he doesn't want to go then it won't do anything. There needs to be trust between a therapist and a patient for anything to get done. Also, wanting to wear a diaper isn't an inherent sign of needing help or having a mental illness. If it is a coping mechanism for him, then a therapist might be nice. Having more than one coping mechanism is a good thing and he could work through whatever it is that's bothering him, but only if he wants to. My dad made me go to a therapist for years and I did nothing but lie. Yes, not everyone is the same, but that tends to be the case. If he does want a therapist, there's no shame in that. Mental health has a huge stigma against it, but having mental health issues is much more common than it is made out to be. Although, again, wanting to wear diapers isn't a sign of mental illness. Don't shame him for it, that will only make him trust less. Him wanting to wear diapers might seem odd to you, but coming at this from a place of judgment will only hurt your relationship. Let him, he wants to, so let him. He will stop when he wants to, if he wants to. Nonetheless, the real issue is simply that diapers are expensive. So here's a suggestion. If it would put a strain on your budget to indulge this want, because it is not a need, with his being at the age he can take a part-time job, perhaps have him work a little part-time job to pay for them himself. Problem solved. To me it seems that if you show him acceptance and support of his human self growing, and having his own body ownership, that your bond will increase. He will feel and believe he is safe in your presence, as he should. Having that kind of security with you. Trust the process of acceptance, which is the level before love is allowed to freely express itself, where he not just feels safe, but knows it's safe, believes it is, knows it is. And should there happen to be anything attached to it more than some fascination, if it's more than a personal experience, interest in his journey in his life, which is his responsibility to himself to be. It is so beautiful that he is able to ask you this without shame. You are a lovely mother soul. You have a solid foundation with your child. I believe that whatsoever you decide to do, you are more than capable of manifesting a win-win result for both of you. Your child doesn't fear you. That is so refreshing to see. I see so many post and family members fear one another. My first reaction is, do not buy your 15-year-old diapers. Why does he want to wear them? Has he explained? Does he intend to soil in them? If so, you may struggle to find with enough absorbents. Products aimed at adults are to protect from bladder leakage, not for whole bladder emptying. Is he just going to walk around in them? If he wants something bulky around his bottom, you could fold a large towel into a diaper shape, like the terry toweling nappies from my childhood. I'm UK. I know I've asked a lot of questions and only you know the answers. But this behavior is not normal. Ask him to consider a disabled young person with incontinence, who has no control over whether they ape themselves in a classroom full of people, or at a family BBQ. Get him to think about how that young person would feel when someone at school or their parents then had to take them away to change their diaper, like they'd do with a toddler. If disabled people in that situation found out that young people are wearing diapers for fun, I think they would feel offended and even feel like they are being mocked. Please ask your son to really think about the answers to the questions and how other people would feel. Some people just enjoy wearing diapers. But how do you know he's not incontinent? It's probably something he'd be more afraid to tell you than the fact that he wants to wear diapers. But he's also getting that the actual age where he might be exploring fetishism. And I've known plenty of people with the diapers fetish. I would not call him on it, because that would definitely be mortifying beyond humiliating. But you might find a way to start a conversation about the diapers, such as why he wants to wear them. Otherwise, if he's not hurting anybody else, just let him. I would add one thing. Diapers can be expensive, and if he wants those nice disposable diapers they sell, I might press him to get a job and pay for his own. Unless, as stated before, he actually does need them.